Just gonna run and then maybe I'm just gonna get. It's funny that you're wearing that because there was this whole thing. Julie Dash, there was an interview with her on Vogue, and one of the Daily Mail or something had criticized
that she was wearing a
no,
dress?
not that she was. That it was in Daughters of the Dust. That she had put those beautiful white dresses.
So pretty.
Yeah, and there was some issue about the fact that I guess black women weren't supposed to be wearing they're supposed to be wearing the plantation things or something like that.
I mean, it's her movie, so it's just, there's got to be a balance between artistry and history. Yeah. And especially in a movie like Daughters of the Dust, that was such a groundbreaking movie, I don't know.
I was actually bringing that up because I just got back from Idlewild, like I told you, and cousin Lydia. Yeah. Now she's cousin Lydia for you all. Oh, actually, let me introduce myself. I'm Imelda, and oh gosh, this is where I go. Otherwise known as Imelda Imam, the Afropolitan Adventurer. And on my channel, I have to read this now because I rewrote it last night. I'm a musician, artist, eco-activist, historian, and filmmaker who is wresting her way to a better life by connecting with Black women in community. And today I have my good friend, Teresa Vazquez, who I have known since first grade, many years. I want to welcome Teresa. And actually the reason I asked her to come on today is because I was looking at, and I'm going to do this again, I was looking at Picky Girl Travels the World, a video of hers. It was called Cultivating. I think I sent it to you. Cultivating. Oh, man. What did I say? Oh, yeah, I sent it to you, so I'm going to look at it. Here it is. Cultivating a Soft Life. And she was talking with Christine Job about the importance of being intentional when creating the life of your dreams. And I really thought I would love to talk to Teresa about this because I've always been very impressed by, back in the day, she would draw and just was very avant-garde, I felt, and just introduced me. Her father is a very amazing artist. She can maybe tell you more about that if she wants. But I just was always impressed by her creativity and her willingness to put it out there. And I don't know. I forgot where I was going with this. Anyway, about dreaming. Well, actually, you're a dream midwife too.
I am. Yeah.
So that idea of dreaming, you're intentionally creating the life of your dreams.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, thanks, Imelda, for inviting me. To me now, anyway, in retrospect, dreaming is really essential. Actually dreaming. Like when I say dreaming, I'm talking about the dreaming you do at night. It doesn't have to be the dreaming that you do at night, but dreaming at night has a lot of those sources, a lot of the storylines, a lot of the things that are really kind of on your mind and your heart and your soul. And when we dream intentionally, when we see what's in our dreams, and when we explore the symbolism and the imagery and things like that, we see that there's kind of a whole narrative that goes on throughout our lives. Certain things come up again and again. Certain things are novel in different seasons of life. And when we're intentional about our life plans, our desires, our wishes, our goals, then we're able to envision them before they come about. And we can kind of check reality for those things, you know, that we see in our dreams. And sometimes that happens in really kind of mystical ways. It doesn't always happen in very obvious and linear ways. But it can, you know, it's kind of like both worlds echo one another back and forth.
The dream world and reality.
Yeah.
I guess.
They really can. I mean,
I say reality like that because there's, well, at least in my spiritual and religious tradition, this idea that even this life is not the real.
It's not reality. The real life. Yeah. I would agree with that. That there are many different layers of that, and that maybe what we live day to day in our waking life is not the end all and be all at all.
Well, it was interesting to me when you were talking about that in each season of our lives that it's novel. I think you were saying the way that we and I wanted to pick up on that because I was also watching some other videos of some younger YouTubers. I'll put it down in the description. Daja and Winter is Blue, and they were talking about their life journey, and it really struck me because, you know, well, I don't know if I want to get into their age. Let's say we're Gen Xers, right?
Yeah, Gen X all the way. We are the generation of mavericks, a whole generation of them, and we're you know, we're making trouble for everybody.
Hey. Okay, now I forgot where I was going. Go ahead, girl.
But we're an older generation now.
Yeah,
is I think what you were.
Well, but the fact that at least for our generation, it felt like, at least for me, we are also majorly that sandwich generation. You know, where, you know, having older parents and kids and having to. I guess what I wanted to address is like, how can you live your life intentionally when there's like a lot of external pressures to maybe go this way when you, and even though you, like for me, my mom passed a couple years ago, and I'm just now coming, you know, this expectation is like, oh, you're supposed to get over it, you know, okay, get back into it. Like, that's a whole topic right there.
Yeah.
But oh man, I guess, sorry, having a moment because just remember Teresa knew my mom, so
it's it's a major thing, you know, to lose your parents.
So I guess it got me to thinking about, but I also in having her around, it sort of was like I wanted to sometimes live up to her expectations or her desire. I don't know. There's a lot of external pressures, and now coming out of that, it's like, oh, it's my time. Yeah. But is it my time? You know, it's like, like the artist Georgia Keep, I think of her and like, well, I don't think she had kids. But anyway, I just think of like artists in general, like a lot of times women would sort of not get started, but be able to blossom around our age. I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but
well, a couple of things about that. One is that there, in a woman's life anyway, there is that kind of sandwich dynamic of caring for elderly parents, and caring for children, grandchildren, and all of that at the same time, of which we're right like in the thick of that. But at the same time, when a woman, especially when her children get to a certain age, let's say teenage, and certainly like early 20s and all that, there is a level of independence that they have. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, and then, you know, millennials are a whole nother thing because they like to stay home and all that. But, you know, but really, I guess, you know, historically, that is the time when a woman needs to kind of recalibrate in a lot of ways. And
yeah, your whole identity is it's like not a crisis per se, but a shift.
It can be a crisis though, but yeah, a crisis and a crisis is, you know, it's like two sides of a coin, right? Because the crisis is also an opportunity. And so many of the things that we've neglected over time, and that can be any variety of things. It could be, you know, our fitness, or it can be our intellect, you know, going back to school, or it can be our creative endeavors, or, you know, any number of things, travel. And so a woman needs to kind of like reinvent herself according to her stage in life. And the thing, you know, things like, you know, menopause, you know, the freedom that provides in many ways, whether it be, you know, reproductively being free of you know, reproduction, sexually, it can be a very empowering time as well. But also, you know, there's the fact that, you know, we are older, you know, and our bodies have already been through a lot. So there's a need to kind of recalibrate and see, you know, what are the things that are important to us. How are we going to make a mark on our on our environment? You know what I mean? I think a lot of thought is put into at our stage in life on our legacy. You know, what have we really brought to this world? What have we contributed to? You know, all the different elements of culture and civilization. What have we really done? I mean, you know, and most everybody has you know, children or business or education or something that they are leaving behind, if not actual artistic products and things like that.
Can I ask, because they're just relating back to Pick Your Girl Travels, and Stephanie Perry also has a channel, and there's a whole movement of women, and I think you've heard of Trisha Hershey.
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
absolutely.
Ministry,
yeah,
like this
ministry,
whole movement of sort of, I don't want to say rejecting, but just
rest as reparations.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how, because when you're saying like leaving a legacy, it almost feels like, oh, that's more pressure to.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about that in terms of, as a creative, maybe you could speak to this. Like for me, it's like, yeah, I want to rest, but I also want to, now I have an opportunity to be productive.
Yeah.
In a not in a stressful way, but in a way where, I can make films, or I can, be I don't know, be a mermaid. Like,
I love that. I love that idea.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and maybe if you could speak to your experience, because I've been watching you, you know, really, I'm going to show some of Teresa's pieces, but I just love them. And, you know, she's been exhibiting and, you know, showing her work and selling her work, and you should buy her work now.
Don't wait till I'm dead, okay?
But really, I mean, well, just speak, sorry, I'm going off, but just, if you could speak to that, like how you're coming into production, but I don't know, what's going on for you? Maybe I don't really know. I'm just.
Well, those are all really good questions, Imelda. I think that for me, what I'm thinking about a lot is boundaries. Actually thinking about boundaries.
I was thinking of that in the car. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah.
Thinking a lot about boundaries, and I've you know, I've been thinking a lot about them because when you talk about all these things that you were talking about earlier that are like encroaching on your time and your energy, and those things that kind of wring you out, boundaries, I think, are the ways to shelter your, time and space and energy, and really determining, what you can do, whether it be what hours of the day you can do those things, what activities are acceptable for a particular time, and some of it is just your own circadian rhythms and your own kind of ebb and flow of your day. And I learned this from you, actually, where you have the do not disturb on your phone. For example, the do not disturb, and and the focus, the different things that you have on iPhones, and that it's totally legit not to answer your phone, not to answer emails right away, not to post, responses to whoever is commenting and stuff. I mean, if you want to do that, that's cool, but I don't. Quite honestly,
that space for yourself, right? Is
that
what you're saying?
To make that space, because with all the different modes of communication, all the social media, all of the work projects, family and friends and everything else, which are all important and valuable, you are the master of your own time. If you don't have time to do something, guess what?
What?
Whose fault is that? If you don't have time to do something that you don't want to do. Or I'm sorry, not that you don't want to do, that you want to do. If you don't have time for something that you want to do.
You, right?
Right. Okay. And so, if it's important to you, you have to carve out that time. You have to make it sacred in order to, make it sacred. Yeah, you have to make it sacred because because it edifies you. Here's a couple of examples. Okay. Meditation is something that's very important to me. And so I do it pretty much. I make my coffee because I still drink coffee, and then I sit and meditate for about half an hour, and I read all of my intentions that I have in the morning, and just it's the time that I can regroup and face the day with more intention, with more thoughtfulness. And I guess the other example slipped my mind.
Because I was going to ask you on that tangent is how you're carving out time for your artwork, because you've been able to really despite having you're working and doing what family all stuff. The things. So how are you doing that? How are you carving out time for
art?
Yeah.
Well, I am a teacher. And in the summers I do little odds and ends, but mostly that time is free. So
Adalia is a teacher too. The
video
of us, but anyway,
okay. So as a teacher, we're not wealthy, but we are wealthy in time. So we have a wealth of time, and beyond visiting here in Chicago, visiting you, visiting my parents and other friends. I have time during the week to just really work hard on a body of work in the summertime.
Okay.
So it's July right now. August through December is basically my art fair time. So I'm preparing right now to then go out and vend on the weekends and, get that work kind of out in the world. But if you will, the first part of the year is production time. And so even during the semester, I spend, weekends and, evenings after school in the studio working. And also it works because my studio is at my daughter's house, and so I'm there a lot. I get to hang out with the grandkids, and so it's kind of a win-win situation because I get that family time, and then I also get that work time together. So it's nice. How do you get the artistic time, the creative time? How do you carve that out for yourself?
That's what I'm trying to figure. I mean, I think I was in grief mode, so for the past like year for sure, year and a half. So I couldn't really, like, that's what I'm figuring out now. And I'm figuring out, where do I want to be? Yeah. Like, because I was telling you earlier, like, this idea of where is home. Oh, yeah. Is also a topic I wanted to talk to you about, because, like, when my mom passed, it was sort of like, I mean, part of the reason I stayed in Chicago was for my parents. Sure. But then I'm like, oh, the world's open to me. But, you know, we both have traveled a lot. Yeah. World travelers. We went to Spain together. Yeah. Her family took me for some odd reason. Like,
and you've traveled like all over the world. You've lived overseas for a period of time. And yeah.
So it's sort of like, where is home? What is and that's why I've been going to Idlewild a lot. I feel like I'm, you know me, I go off on these tangents, but I've also home for me, I guess, I'm finding also is really tied to the Black community that I knew growing up. In terms of, I'm figuring that out, and I guess going up there, I feel like I need some space, physical space to create. Like, that's what I'm feeling right now. Yeah. So, and I told you about, like, I was interested in going to Panama. Now, it might be a little bit too hot and humid for me. Oh, okay. My daughter's like, when you get hot and it's humid, you're... Yeah,
you might not be so happy in Panama, I will tell you that.
But, I mean, I don't know. That's a great question. I guess by doing this, like, you know, you said, let's get together. I'm like, I have to film.
Well, that works.
Teresa was gracious enough to.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure.
But yeah, I don't know. That's my deal too. Figuring out how to make those boundaries, but also not push people. You know, like you were saying, how family time is important. You know, being with my daughter and the dog is important to me too. So finding that balance.
It is a balance, and there can be real moments of imbalance. I mean, certainly grief is a moment of imbalance, you know, any kind of work situations, or if there's family crisis or whatever, it can be a moment of imbalance or a time of imbalance. I guess, I don't know. For me, maybe the question is not so much where is home. Like, for me, I can say Chicago is home.
Sorry, I did not put on Do Not Disturb.
That's all right. I did though.
Okay, they will forgive me. I'm sure. Okay. Go ahead. You were saying,
so like for me, Chicago is home. There's no gray area about that. I mean, Chicago, Hyde Park is my home. And even though I don't live here anymore, I don't have a home here, although we're kind of sitting in my family's home, I don't really see any other place as home. I mean, I dwell in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I dwell there, and I will probably dwell there for the next 7 years at least. But, you know, and I could say, well, ancestrally, my home is, you know, Cuba, or I can say, like, farther back ancestrally, you know, that I have heritage from Africa and I have heritage from Europe. But I mean, or I could say the world is my home because I'm an earthling, you know? So, I mean, you can see it in a variety of different ways, but it can become a very portable thing as well. And I think in this day and age, and, you know, for the past decade or more of there being kind of the World Wide Web, and we are connected to individuals throughout the whole world, then home becomes something else. It becomes the communities that you are a part of. It becomes the groups that you are affiliated with. In some ways, you're, whether it be your religious or your political or your social philosophies or your, what you value, the activities you do, and all of those things. And so it becomes less important, like where you reside or what place on the earth you affiliate with. It's more, who are your people? Who are your people? Because I mean, you're part of my people, no matter where you live, right? Yeah. And so it almost doesn't matter. We're portable. We can move around. Or even, I have a friend who has a van and, is going to live on the road soon. And so some people are nomadic like that. And so perhaps, what is her home? I guess you could say her van, perhaps. But...
Or her communities along the way.
Or
that
her...
Yeah.
Yep. And so it's just, I guess, a different orientation toward home, which I don't think could have come about before there being, the World Wide Web and social media and all of that.
The plus side of social media.
It is. It really is. It's that part that keeps us connected to the people that have been valuable friends and loved ones throughout time, throughout our lifetime, but also the new and wonderful people that we meet by virtue of social media, that it allows us those opportunities across, time and space, I guess you could say. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of it. Man, we covered a lot of ground.
I think so. But I mean, so how do you see home these days? Because I understand what you're saying. Your family was here, you grew up here, but I mean, do you see home as where you grew up, or do you see it as where you kind of plant your flag, or where you purchase real estate? Or
I mean, I'm leaning towards like this, the idea you brought up earlier about community. Like, I've always been interested in intentional community.
Yeah.
And back in the day, there was like a huge book called The Intentional Community, and it had, it was actually typed, and you
That's
could go,
wild.
it was wild, yeah.
Huh.
And I think I'm leaning towards what you were saying about like who are my people, and do I need to like physically live close to my people? I don't know. Yeah. I'm really struggling with that right now. Well, I guess that's why I'm traveling back and forth.
Yeah, so that you can kind of
and sort of seeing. I think I've decided I can't really do van life though, because I was planning. I was thinking about it, but there's reasons for that.
It's not an easy. I don't think that's an easy life. A nomadic life. You have to be super resilient and kind of like. I mean, a really potent symbol to me in my life is a snail. Because the snail carries their home on their back, and they're protected. They're kind of self-protected. Maybe that's the boundary that we're talking about. But to me, and then of course there's the soft creature inside, and that allows you to be the soft creature as if you have a hard shell. To move
really
through life.
Wow. That's a really beautiful way to... maybe I need to figure out what animal I am or identify with the most. Thank you. Some homework for me. I can't really... I think I'm just in exploratory phase. Like a lot of women, and as I'm watching, people who are making an exodus from the USA, and maybe some will stay, and maybe some, find like, maybe this is my community, maybe it's not,
Right.
I think it's a opportunity though to explore.
Yeah.
At this point in life.
Yeah.
Let me see. I don't know how to wrap this. I think.
Well, gosh, I mean, I guess one thing that we can say is that we've been friends since first grade, and to me, like when you talk about home, like when I come home, I mean, literally come home to Chicago. You are one of the touchstone people that I always want to check in with, and so that's a big part of home. I'm not that interested in shopping or entertain. I mean, yeah, it's cool and wonderful, but the most important part as far as the checking in is is just seeing the people that you care about. So that is, I think, for me, an important aspect of being at home.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, like, just there's something about being physically, though. I understand what you're saying about the virtual board, but being physically present, there's just no replacement.
No, there really isn't.
I'm not quite sure why, but
and that's a good thing. I mean, because in the future we may be very deprived of the physical presence and the physical touch and all of that kind of thing.
Because what makes you say that? In the future we might be.
Well, isolation, I think, is one thing that we really don't need to be in contact. I mean, if we wanted to live our entire lives from early childhood to death, I mean, we could live in isolation. I mean, not that would be healthy or anything. I mean, I'm an online educator. I teach virtually, and I have for many years, and I know for a fact that many of my students don't really see anybody outside of their family. They rarely go outside even, which I think is a deprivation, is neglect, but it's a fact in our lives, and COVID, blah blah blah, but
I guess that's why it touches back on when you asked me where's home, that having that physical space and that community there, because I see like the issues with being like, for me that doesn't work.
No, for me it doesn't work either. I mean, I have to go outside all the time, I would say that that's a part of being human, right? It's a part of, because we are social creatures. I mean, that is a fact, and we live in a very unnatural way. I mean, even that we're in a vertical, rectangular prism, rectangular prison, and that we accept living that way, and even that is very unnatural. But
touching that's
touching the earth.
My community's folks want to touch the earth with me,
and that's super super important. Gardening, and just having an understanding of all kinds of different plants and animals, and what our environment really consists of, what it is like out there. And fortunately in Chicago, we're what is the slogan? Urbis in Horto, right?
Oh, I know.
The city in a garden.
Oh.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
The slogan of Chicago or whatever is Urbis in Horto, where it's a city in a garden, and it was planned as such. It was planned to be a city, after the fire and whatever, that would have big parks, recreational areas that people could walk to no matter what neighborhood they lived in, and that they could enjoy.
So that was I probably have it tilted down a little more. Anyway, that was the universe telling us, wrap it up. So I wanted to share though, I really wanted to thank you for coming onto my channel.
It's my
brand
pleasure,
new channel,
sure.
and we're
I'm excited about what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Me too. And I wanted to share if you want to check out Teresa's work, I encourage you to do that. Her artwork. Can you share your Instagram handle?
Yep.
Folks?
My Instagram, I have two. One is at Dreaming Woke, DreamingWoke, and the other is Vazquez Treasure. That's VazquezTreasure.
And I will put that in the description as well. And I just want, if people would like to, I'd like to hear your comments about, we covered so much.
A few different things.
Different topics. So anything you'd like to share about, no, really, or just so we could explore this some more, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just really curious to see if people are having similar struggles, or if you found some solutions. Maybe you're going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And please like and subscribe.
Oh yeah. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and thank you. And
thank you.
that's a wrap.